Hello, I am Aarthi from Mauritius. I volunteer in several non-profits as a disability activist. I am the president of DIMOI. DIMOI is a non-profit working for the promotion and protection of human rights in Mauritius as well as in the West Indian Ocean. DIMOI has set up 5 commissions. One of the commissions is on children's rights, one commission on women's rights, one commission on youth rights, one commission on the rights of the elderly, and finally there's the 5th commission, which is the Commission on Disability Rights, which I lead. I am also the president of SEDEM, a well-known local NGO working for the welfare of needy children, including children with disabilities. This NGO provides special needs education to children with disabilities and children which had suffered trauma from a hard family background or other factors. They also provide shelter for abandoned children and stray children. I am also the Secretary of Women with Disabilities. Women with Disabilities is a forum regrouping women and girls with disabilities of Mauritius. Basically, what we do in the non-profit is like to regroup them together and to try to help them overcome the challenges that they face in terms of financial challenges, social challenges, and other barriers that they may be facing in their lives. Also, I serve as advisor in a local NGO for the blind known as Union of the Blind of Mauritius. I advise on policy-making decision and on technology for the blind. I am also the advisor in DPO Mauritius. DPO Mauritius stands for Disabled People Organization Mauritius, which regroups different NGOs. So these different NGOs come together under the same umbrella, and what we try to do, we advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities on the island, and I serve as advisor in disability rights.
Aarthi, thank you. Can you tell me, as a 2014 Yale Washington Fellow, what you've learned here at Rutgers that you think will be useful to you and your organizations back in Mauritius?
I learned a lot about accessibility. One example is that in Mauritius, when Mauritius has signed the United Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, commonly referred to as UNCRPD in the jargon of disability rights, there is an article in this convention, namely Article 9, subsection 2, which refers to Braille transcription and sign language, which should be placed on public infrastructure for the public infrastructure to actually become accessible to us visually impaired and hearing impaired persons. But Mauritius has put a reserve on that article. And in 2012, was it 2012? Yeah, in 2012, when Mauritius has sent its report to the United Nations explaining how it has implemented all these articles, it was mentioned by the government that this article will still be under reserve because they don't have enough money to implement it actually. But when I came to Rutgers and witnessing all these accessibility features like Braille transcription in the lift, Braille transcription next to the door of classes, next to the door of apartments, I have realized, I've now come to know the difference of a society which is accessible and a society which is not accessible for us.
And so with the information that you've learned here as a Yale Fellow, what are some of the steps that you'll take in the future to move forward in the mission that you have in each of your organizations?
I think that now I'm vested with the power, the strong will, and new knowledge to advocate more efficiently for not only this reserve to be removed by the government of Mauritius, but for all the articles of this United Nations Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities to be implemented fully in the right sense in the Mauritian society, for the Mauritian society to become an inclusive society for all, including persons with disabilities.
And can you talk about what you'll do with the motivation and this new knowledge, some of the steps that you'll start by taking within the next 12 months?
I'm thinking of implementing this new knowledge in new projects with a new orientation, with a new restructuring the organizations I work with, because I volunteer in these nonprofits and I want them to have a clear vision of what they are involving in, have a mission, and to finally work hard towards the main goal. Um, Also, non-profit organizations has a strong connection with politicians, with the government. But most of the time in Mauritius, we see that the legislators, when enacting laws, do a lot of mistakes. They overlook so many things in terms of rights for persons with disabilities that at the end of the day, we are the one who suffer from that. Um, I may set up a commission to advocate for the rights of persons with disabilities, at the same time to raise awareness, but also to educate politicians, because they are the ones who need to know more, to know what they are doing when they are passing laws.
And as a last question, Aarthi, now that you've been on Rutgers campus for 6 weeks and you've met several professors, several staff members, and students, how do you think that Rutgers can better support you as you move forward in Mauritius?
Rutgers can support my new mission in the sense that in helping me to acquire knowledge about how actually such a university as Rutgers, a big state university with more than 65,000 students, how do they come to care for the special needs of students with disabilities coming at Rutgers? How do they include us in the system? And how do they just not forget that we exist?
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.